me a second, get some water.
Excellent. So let's get started. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on a Saturday evening for the PGPMAX Student Diaries hosted by the PGPMAX team at ISB. My name is Thomas, and I'll be your host for today. The Student Diaries is our outreach initiative that brings together current students of PGPMAX to share their experiences. So it is your opportunity to ask our current students about the program experience, why they decided to do PGPMAX, how the program is helping them professionally, essentially get an insider perspective on the program, and on anything that you might have as a query to ask. So to do this, please make use of the Q&A box, which is available towards the bottom of your screen. I'll be happy to share these questions with our panelists as we progress. We also had received a lot of questions from your end as you registered for the event. And after a brief introduction to our panel, I'll ask these questions to our panelists on your behalf, and then we'll open up for Q&A about 45 minutes into the session. So the Q&A today will be limited to the student experience and to a panelist alone. If you have a program or admission related query, we'll take it offline. Please feel free to book a one-to-one conversation with our admission office, and I'm sharing the link for this in the chat box in a while. So without much delay, let me welcome our panelists for the event today. We have three of our current participants from the PGPMAX class of 22 here with us. I have with me Abhishek Vishwakarma. Abhishek is the Head of Products, Digital Business and Partnership for Business Banking at Unity Small Finance Bank. Unity Small Finance Bank was founded by Centrum Financial Services and by Bharat Pay, and aspires to be India's first truly digital bank. Welcome, Abhishek. Also joining us today is Sindhu Selvaraj. Sindhu is a business manager for APAC for HackerRank, a market-leading technical assessment and remote interview solution provider for hiring developers. Welcome, Sindhu.
Hey, everyone.
And I also have Joydeep in the panel today. Joydeep is a cluster HR head for United Breweries and is someone who has worked across the industries as diverse as banking, aviation, shipping, IT, and alcobevs. Welcome, Joydeep. So given the diverse group of individuals we have in the panel today, I'm sure you would want to learn more about their profiles and professional journeys. So let's start with an introduction from each of our panel members. If all of you could give a little bit of background and tell us what brought you to PGPMAX, how and why did you decide to do PGPMAX? Yeah, it'll be great. So let's probably start with you, Abhishek.
Great. So my background has been a bit unique. I have lived at an intersection of digital, public policy, and financial services for the last 20 years. Traveled around 3 continents, worked there before coming back to India. And so I was at a stage in life where I was kind of doing good, but then I still wanted to grow and do something different. And that's where I said, let me evaluate PGPMAX as a program. I did evaluate few other global executive MBAs from other business schools. And then I chose PGPMAX because I couldn't leave my job in India, wanted to be based out of India and have more India focused learnings and cohort members and alumni, that's the reasons why I kind of chose ISB. And that journey has been good so far. So that's broadly what I would say is my take on the program and why I chose for it.
Thanks, Abhishek. Sindhu, let's get your perspective. Why PGPMAX? What brought you to PGPMAX?
Yeah, so whenever you get time, just do take a look at my profile as such. The reason why I'm saying is that learning and unlearning is something that I just keep doing it. So PGPMAX or a global MBA happens to be my second degree or MBA program as such, right? And why did I choose PGPMAX? I think every career journey, you reach a point where you need a certain set of skills to give you that growth or that leverage in your career ladder, right? And that is something that I was looking for. And though I had done already an MBA, but it was very specific to a certain, a category, I would call it. So I wanted an overall understanding of how organizations work, how different decisions are being made based upon different circumstances. And that's where something that a global MBA or an EMBA had to come in. The reason being, I cannot take off work, being a workaholic that I am. Like Abhishek said, explored different options because every EMBA is huge cost. It's not, doesn't come less, right? So the money that you invest obviously needs to give you returns. And when I weighed all those options, I needed a place where I could go in over a week, get away from home, spend that 1 week worthwhile, and come back. So a lot of factors kind of affected it. And keeping all that in mind, and the kind of alumni network that I'm going to get, and the kind of learning that I was going to get, this program kind of fit into that metrics. So I think that's the predominant reason why I chose PGPMAX. And to date, I think I made the right choice to kind of go ahead with ISB. Yep, that's my short answer.
Excellent. Thanks, Sindhu.
Thank you.
Joydeep, what's your take? Why PGPMAX?
So for me also, it's the second MBA. I've done my first MBA in 2005. And one of the things which actually pulled me was I was nominated by my organization, one of my companies I was working with, to do an MDP kind of customized program at ISB. So I tasted ISB and the quality of education for about a week, 10 days when we were here. So I was obviously, that taste carried on with me. And then finally, when I decided that it was time to move on to a school, I was fairly confident that having tested it already, I was pretty sure of the quality of output I will get. For me, I've been an HR person throughout my life, almost 17 years now, having worked in multiple industries like IT, aviation, banking, shipping, and now in FMCG. I knew that I had to get a exposure which is more holistic in nature, talks about finance, business, strategy, and then it helps me become a lot more wholesome, you can say, a person who can view the world a little more differently. And I have to say that I was proven absolutely right, because when I came here, I had to really unlearn a lot of stuff, and I think all my colleagues in the batch have to do it. And then we have to learn back a lot of stuff. We always, I remember the saying of Vivekananda, right? We were all like a frog in the well, feeling that we were doing the best thing. We were already high performers, etc., etc. But when you come here, realize that there's so much outside, so much we don't know, and that really helped us kind of. And that's like a magnetic attraction for me, at least. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, in fact, that's something that stands out from all three of your profiles. All of you had an MBA and then chose to do PGPMAX again. So it's more like a second MBA that you're doing. Is there some difference? Because a lot of applicants that we get ask us these questions that, see, I have an MBA, I have so many years of experience. Is it a good time to do it? Should I do this, or should I do something a little function focused? Should I do a maybe a MDP kind of a program, or should I deep dive into this? Is there a difference that you have seen with your experience?
At least, and I can answer that. I mean, for me, there's nothing same, honestly. What I studied 17 years ago and the methodology of academic course that time was little more theoretical, little more bookish. It was, of course, very tough. We had to read through a lot of books, etc. But here, the ability to is that the way, the pedagogy of how the curriculum goes in terms of case studies and the most important, the cohort you get. After working 17 years, an average, I think our average experience is about 17, 18 years, your perspective is very different when you look at things and when you talk to each other. So we do a lot of shared learning here, more than the case studies and more. So the case study is just a reason to have a discussion. But the discussions really add value and perspective to us and the way we look at things. So I think for me, at least, it makes absolute sense, because when now I go back to the organization where I work and when I talk to leaders, business leaders, the way you even interact has changed. The way you look at stuff has actually changed. And that gives you a lot of appreciation at the workplace. And that's being an HR person also is very important for me because I can relate to any kind of business models now. And we were just joking with my friend Abhishek that we've come here, I'm here out with family. I'm more looking at the business model and how the business is going rather than actually enjoying the play because your mind is so tuned on with looking at business model, strategy, cost alignment, and all that. You look at stuff very, very differently. I mean, I find it amazing actually.
Excellent. Thanks, Joydeep. Abhishek, what would be your take?
See, I think while we all three share the same kind of background, I would say when we do a MBA at the early stages of our career, it is more focused on a particular function, right? So you're basically trying to get functional abilities of a particular and get back to a job where you actually are going to start from the scratch and then grow through it. When after 15-20 years of experience you come back and you say, okay, now I want to grow into a CXO. I am already like a CXO -1, trying to get into a CXO role, do a wider range of things, not only be focused on my own function, but look at how I can transform the organization and take it to the next level, right? We are a startup bank now. How do I take this bank to a place where I want to compete with the big boys in the industry? That's the thought process that I think I came in for, and it actually has helped me get that perspective. So today when I'm talking to a marketing guy, I'm not saying, "Arey, launch kar do project." I'm saying, boss, I want SEO to happen so and so. I want penetration in this market. I want my product to be positioned as #1 in this space. Tell me how to do it. And then that's a very intelligent conversation to have. If I'm having a conversation with a finance guy, I will not say, give me some money to build a product. It's more like, okay, this is my business case. This is my revenue. This is my cost. So this is the profit that I'll make for the bank. And let's deploy that profit back to making a big product. So that conversation with my colleagues and friends and in my workplace has kind of changed. Completely changed in the last 12 months. I would say we still have a couple of more months to go, but that's something that has changed, and that I never got this kind of a conversation going when I did my previous MBA. While I got functional expertise, but this conversation was very different.
Excellent, thanks, Abhishek. Sindhu, coming to you, I believe you did the MBA that you did around 2016, 17, around that time. So comparing to that time frame to now, is it very different? Is the PGPMAX journey substantially different from the other one, or is it not?
No, it is absolutely different. I would say because, like I said, that was very specific to product leadership and the entire product management aspect of things. And this was more like a holistic leadership, like how Abhishek rightly put, right? When you go and, start collaborating with multiple cross-functional teams, how do you go ahead and talk their language or understand what they are talking? Because that's very important as you grow as a leader or, in an organization, or just as you grow as a person individually as well, right? Personally as well. So I think in that perspective, both of them have covered it beautifully. PGPMAX is totally a different program. I think the research-based methodology in which they do, like getting the co-founders of companies to talk about their case studies, getting the live, having a live case scenarios, that really is very unique. And that's where I think a lot of learning comes. And being amidst cohort who are like more than 20 plus years experience, they don't just bring the bookish or the academic side of learnings for you. They give you the hands-on scenario, what's happening day in, day out in their organization. So I think that becomes a key part to your learning journey as well. And me being an IC always, when I say IC, an individual contributor, and being in sales and marketing, for me, talking the language what customer understands and does is very important. So this kind of gave me a holistic kind of a learning experience overall. So definitely way different from what I had done then. And for me, the timing, it's just, you have to do it, you do it. There's nothing like, I will do it after 2 years, I'll do it after 3 years, nothing like that. You just want to do it, go ahead and do. That's where I decided that though I had already done something else, I want to do PGPMAX. So let me just go ahead and do it.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, Sindhu. Quick note to our participants today, please do drop your questions that you might be getting into the Q&A box. We'll be happy to share it with our panel as we progress. Now, coming back to our discussion, how are you able to manage this rigor of the program with with your personal and professional commitment? Because just before we started this session, we were probably talking about your Mohali visit. So you were in Hyderabad campus a week ago. Now you're planning for your Mohali visit. And I'm sure that there's a lot happening in your personal and professional friends. So how are you managing all of this? So probably I'll start with you, Joydeep, on this.
Yeah. So it's not easy. Let me be very upfront about it. It's not easy, but yes, let me refer to a case. It's a subject called DMUU. It's very, very famous in all ISB, decision making under uncertainty. So we deal with all these things. And I think initially when we started off, I'll be honest, first term was very, very challenging. We were not sure where to start, where to finish, how to balance, how to look at time, how to look at work. And all of us are really kind of there demanding at a workplace. Work doesn't switch off for us, all of us. It's just always on. But then when you get into the course, you figure out your ways. You have to compromise sometimes. It can't be win-win all the time. But yes, you do make time, take time and effort to put aside every day, go through whatever the pre-reads, prepare yourself, because you know that rest of your batch, when you see all your batch members, cohort members also putting a lot of effort, and even we have such senior people in our cohort and they all put so much effort, they got come so prepared in the class, then it also gives you a lot of motivation that yes, if they can do it, I can also do it. And then you figure out, you make time out for everything. So the classic example, I also, while we are coming to every month at the cohort and we are meeting together in the terms, I also take out time to take family out in between. So I'm able to do that as well. And plus the work is also going on. So you manage and you learn. That's what it is. That's one of the lessons we have learned here, how to manage all these things.
Excellent. Thanks, Joydeep. Sindhu, let me get your perspective here because you're in an independent contributor role. So your presence in the organization, your deliverables it matters a lot. And you have to take these 1 week immersions in between. So how do you manage it?
Trust me, this question I was asked at every stage, okay? Even during the interview, like, how do you manage time? My straight answer is get into it. Like how you learn to swim only when you jump inside a pond. That's exactly what I would say. Unless and until you are in that spot, you won't learn. And what better opportunity for you, like whatever you learn through this course, you can actually implement on your own self. Your key stakeholders at home, your stakeholders at work, your stakeholders with your cohort, you're learning to manage all of them, right? So I think it's like a learning in practice that is going on. And eventually, everybody becomes a big ISB family. It's like everybody in my work knows my entire cohort. Everybody in my home knows entire cohort, and it just kind of gels seamlessly. It is tough initially. I know because I'm a mom, 2 kids, that to teenage boys, so it's crazy at home too. But I think having the cohort along with you and going through that entire journey and the learning makes you comfortable, and it'll help you kind of figure out how to make things work. You have to multitask. I think as a leader, as you grow up the ladder, you have to, and you need to know what to prioritize, when to prioritize, and what to deprioritize, and when to say no. So you learn all these things through these 18 months because you learn to say no at your work, at home, as well as to your cohort at times when things go crazy. So I think it is a great journey. Just get in and enjoy learning one side, but you have a lot of fun also. So for me, that is my take on how you end up managing everything. It's you do it, period. You do it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sindhu. So Abhishek, let me come to you because you started a new role recently. You joined Unity Small Finance Bank, and you are interested with a lot of responsibilities there in the new role. So new role and a lot of emotions are also coming back to back right now. So how are you managing it? How is all of this working together?
I knew this question would come. But yeah, apart from what Joydeep and Sindhu just mentioned, I think my take has been that as we grow up in the ladder, we are measured on outcomes, right? And that is something that that we learn both at the course as well as part of our work. Now, outcome means that you would skim through a few coursework material and just say, "Ki yaar, mereko pata hai, I will be able to manage the class," or you would prioritize some work over some course, or vice versa, because you are able to manage both parties. So once you understand this concept, sailing through the course is very easy. The challenge which and this is a learning that we got when we started off this course, like first couple of semester, we were like fully engrossed and trying to read through everything. And then third semester onwards, we're like, okay, should I even read this or should I just bank on my cohort guy to kind of give me the input? And similarly at work, we were trying to do everything because normally that's what we would do, right? Then you start balancing it out and you say, okay, this I will delegate, this I will ask somebody else to do, this I will do. So you start managing it. But I would say without the support of family, without your support of your colleagues and your boss, I think getting on to doing a course, it becomes a bit difficult. So you need this three axes of support coming in very critically. I've been lucky to have good bosses at my previous job as well as now. They're very supportive. But yeah, that's how you need to manage the situation.
Excellent. Thanks, Abhishek. And Joydeep also walked us into decision making under uncertainty. So I really need to touch upon what you're learning in the classrooms as well. So maybe let me start with you, Joydeep. So you've been in a handling a HR role across various industries. And last we spoke, you also mentioned that your favorite subject was leading people and organization by Professor
Yeah.
Ram. Can you talk us a little about that? How was that subject helpful for you? Is there a professional learning that you took away from the subject?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think one of the key lessons, and I can bet anybody in my cohort, you can go and ask and they'll talk about it, is that Professor Ram kind of put ourselves a thought of being full. That's the concept we all took away from him. And it's just an amazing way of looking at, he also learned about higher bird and lower bird, things like that, which basically put a purpose in our life. Why do we exist and why we want to, what is our contribution back to the community, to the society, etc. Because beyond the work, and we are in this kind of a rat race, you can say, we were running our lives, trying to do what we do best, etc. But along with this course, another aspect which I really appreciated about Professor Ram was putting a purpose in our life. And that was extremely critical for us, because as leaders, you have to understand, we have to understand that we have a larger impact on the teams we manage, on the communities we manage, on the communities and the people we influence. So we have to be very conscious of what we do, and we also can make a difference. So let me, if I could take an example today, I'm managing 2 regions and there are a lot of factories. There are communities around the factories. So decisions I make can impact a lot of life as an HR person. And that purpose of being full adds that extra lens in our eyes when we take those calls, talk decisions, business decisions. We look at other aspects of community, etc. And we look at the larger picture. I think that learning I really took back from Professor Ram, and even today, whenever I meet him, that is one. I keep telling him that this was something I'll never forget. It just stays with you.
Excellent. Thanks, Joydeep. Abhishek, let me come to you next. What would your favorite subject be and why? And what is the professional learning that you took away from it?
I think I was really, when my learning was phenomenally high in the course that I took at Wharton with Professor Harveer Singh. So on the M&A subject. I have been part of due diligence teams where we are evaluating startups for investments. I've been part of teams where I've actually done the investments, sat on some of these leadership teams of those investments that we've done. But the looking at that same work from a different lens, I think that is something that I got in that class. Like I never could think that an investment should be looked on from a perspective that there's a storyline that the company is building, right? When you look at it from that perspective, then everything falls in place. Why am I trying to invest into this company? What is the value that the company is going to give me? How am I going to take this investment further, go back to my investors and say, hey, give me more money, I need to build up few things. That storyline, building that storyline for future growth, I think that is something that I got from that class. And I think as we go forward, I'm actually implementing that as we speak, talking to a few guys for kind of getting a few things done in this space again. But yeah, that's something was very, very amazing that I got.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Abhishek. Sindhu, what would your favorite course be?
Okay, so since I'm in sales and marketing, of course, marketing happens to be my favorite subject throughout the entire
Absolutely.
course. And it's amazing the way we kind of segregated different marketing courses into three different buckets. So we had three different terms. One was, of course, in Wharton, where we studied about the competitive marketing landscape, right? More in detail. How do you go ahead and market or create your own brand and stay being a pioneer in there among so many other such competitive industries, right? And apart from that, the recent B2B marketing, everybody talks about B2C, but nobody talks about B2B because but on the other hand, B2B happens to be the major crux of everyone's what we are being salary, we are being paid on, right? So I think all these key things was very critical for me. And the course was beautifully outlined. And the best part was so many case studies and case examples. You don't learn it just by reading books, right? Yes, we had the textbooks, we had the other adjacent materials that was supplied to us, but when you go and look into each of these case studies, try to put yourself in that shoe of that person, what that character in that case study, you won't understand how it is being dealt with, right? I think that was very critical, and that's what I enjoyed in each of these in the entire three different uniquely timed marketing courses that was there. And great professors. I think that's the best thing that we have, right? Each of the professor, they had their own style of conducting that course. There was like literally like no one was like overlapping into it. They knew what they had to cover and they covered it beautifully, understood that not everyone is from marketing. So going into that ground level and then building upon it to the level where we at CXOs have to take decisions, I think that is what was very nice about these three courses. So that's where I would want to say marketing. I enjoyed all the three terms that we had.
Excellent, excellent. Good to get this perspective from all three of you. Now, you also touched upon the international immersions in the program. So let's talk about a little about the uniqueness of PGPMAX. So there are these two international immersions. You all went to London Business School and to Wharton. There's also something called executive coaching, which is very specifically tailored for our PGPMAX cohort. So a little bit of insights on these, please. Maybe I'll start with you, Sindhu, on this. How was your
I
international immersion
I loved
experience?
it. I just loved it. I enjoyed it. I think this is the USP of the PGPMAX program, right? Where a lot of institutions talk about like having professors across delivering it over here. Yes, you do have professors representing from various different big B schools globally. They do come and teach, but going there, being present in the college makes it a big difference. And we got that experience as well, because when they particularly I'll talk about like London Business School, right? The case studies that we picked there were specific to UK and the Europe region, right? So why would you want to know about how it works as a leader, as you grow up on to take up more higher roles or responsibilities? You got to look at a global scale. Your jobs and responsibility, KRA, is not limited to just your own country or in India that you hold, right? So getting in those perspectives and listening to those professors out there made it really a big difference for us. And of course, you do get time to go and have fun. So that's all part and parcel of this. And you make a lot of memories with your cohort in these journeys. But being there in London Business School, at Wharton University, studying there, it's altogether a different experience. And I think that is what was like, it just changes your perspective of how academic coaching has to be, how learning is supposed to be done. All that changes once you experience it. So that's my take on both of these. And we had a lot of fun. So
Excellent, excellent. Joydeep, now let me come to you. What was it like for you? How was the
Yeah.
national immersions?
So I think 2-3 things stand out from the international immersion, along with the case studies and all which Sindhu mentioned. We also actually went to a kind of an incubation center. We had a CEO who spoke to us about his business model, which is almost 1 billion large organization, how he actually expanded. So we got a live face-to-face interaction with someone who has actually done it. And that is amazing, because then you can relate clearly what you just studied in the class and discuss in the class to someone who's actually done it. And that gives you a very different perspective, and most it gives you a lot of confidence that there's so much you can do on your abilities. The second part, I really appreciated about this course was the executive coaching. I never knew I need coaching unless I got coaching. I mean, all of us always feel that we know it all, and then when you get the coach really challenges you to think beyond and challenges your own self. It was amazing. My coach was is one of the best coaches in Italy. And I was able to do almost a session every week for 3 months, and that really changed a lot of stuff for me personally as an individual, because all of us have areas of development and you just don't know whom to talk to, and coaches are that sounding board for you. They really help you. You can really open up and with confidence and get the feedback you need, and that really helped change my perspective. And even today I'm in touch with her. She's just amazing as a coach. So these two things really stood out for me.
Excellent. Thanks, Joydeep. Abhishek, now let me get your perspective on these takes.
I'll just add to a few points that both my cohort members have already spoken about. So the point around meeting the CEO of in UK, where he's actually done some work in the restaurant space, and then he's actually gone ahead and sold that concept to a bank locally, and then the bank is pitching that service to the restaurant so that the cash flows can be managed. I think since I came from the banking industry, that I picked it up very well. Said, okay, this is something that I should implement. And I've gone ahead and actually partnered with somebody here in India. So that's one thing which was a kind of immediate takeaway for me. I did spend some time separately with that CEO to understand how did he move from being a employee to becoming an employer, basically start his own company. And some of these learnings that I got was pretty much good for my own thought process, because at some point I want to become an entrepreneur. So that's my international experience take. On the executive coaching side of it, I think, as Joydeep said, I also did not know I needed an executive coach, right? So when we started off, it was more like why this coaching thing. But then as 2 or 3 sessions went by, I started realizing that she's kind of pushing me to think in different directions, to find out skills within me which I have never realized. I think that's the learning that I got from the executive coaching. Lastly, coming back to the international immersion again, at the end of the LBS session, we had a dinner with the dean, and he said, take some 30 seconds to think what you want to be. And we took 30 seconds and we thought, ye banenge. Then he says, okay, take another 30 seconds and say whatever you thought in square of that. And we were like, okay. And he said, that is what you can achieve. And that's the output of the international mission at the program at LBS. So I think that whatever I could achieve square is the single takeaway I would say that for me from an LBS immersion. And that's really possible. That's what I believe today.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, Abhishek. So we had received a lot of questions from our participants today. So they had to register a question. While registering, they had to share a question with us. And a lot of these questions were around the ROI of the program. The program is quite expensive. So, what is in it for me? So what will be my takeaway from the program? What will be my benefit out of this program was quite often the question. Now, ROI, quite often we see that whenever we speak to our alums from the program, is substantially different from a financial ROI. But let me start with the banker in the call today. So Abhishek, maybe I'll take your perspective. What is the ROI for you? Now you have gone through the journey. You're going to finish this journey by December. Where do you see your ROI from the program?
I think I would not see ROI from a financial perspective. And that's my personal view, that we should not look at this program from a financial ROI perspective, because we all are at a different career levels, right? So it becomes very difficult for us to view the program in a particular way. My ROI from this program has been, can I do the job better, right? And if I can do the job better, it is going to be visible to the CEO. And if that is happening, then a few more functions would get added to my own kitty of work that I do. And if that happens, then obviously designation and salary will definitely increase. That's been my hypothesis, and I think I'll have to test this hypothesis in the next couple of years, because whatever comes out after that in 3 years is what I would come back to on a similar platform and probably tell. But that's been my view, that this is how an ROI of this kind of a program should get calculated.
Excellent. The hypothesis is definitely standing out from the conversation. So yes, Sindhu, let me get your perspective now. what would your take be? The journey is going to end by December. So where do you see the journey going?
Okay, so definitely one thing that I would advise to all of it, like Abhishek said, please don't come and look at it like, yeah, I'm going to get a big career change. I'm going to make loads of money. Don't be in that perspective. ROI is through of this course for me is always what you make out of it yourself. You have put in that mindset and effort to join this particular course, right? You define the ROI at the beginning of the course. Here's what the course modules are going to look like. Here's what I want to take away from each of these modules. This is my goal for the next 18 months. And take that out from the course. It could be through your cohort, it could be through your professors, it could be from the different sources that you could go ahead and implement the same in your organization and pull out the ROI there also. So be with that mindset, be clear of what you want from this course and get that out. For me, it's, yeah, like I think Thomas said, it's a huge money that you're going to put in. And I've joined in through an education loan. Apart from the income tax benefit that I get, and the EMI that I pay. So that's another ROI that I'm getting from this course. I'm paying less tax. But honestly, ROI is what you make out of it. And for me personally, it has changed me personally, professionally, a lot. Because and like the executive coaching, right? When I list on, the first thing the coach said is, you need to listen, period, right? And I always thought, I was like, why is everybody just like, if this is what something when my manager kept saying, listen. And when a coach tells you like, like you're not listening to anybody, that kind of rings ahead, right? So for me, a lot has changed individually, and ROI has been tremendous growth professionally for me as an individual, and personally as well. And I started to kind of implement few of these in my organization. And of course, when I change organizations, when I get the career progression, that's the eventual ROI that you're going to get out of it. And having that alumni network and your cohort to help you reach there is what makes it very unique. I think that's what you need to look at ROI. Don't look at like, I'm going to join 18 months down, I'm going to come back with like loads of money in my bank. That's not going to happen. Just forget it. We are all, like Abhishek said, we are already getting that loads of money, I think, in Boris. So please don't be in that. Just enjoy the learning, unlearn and relearn. That's important. That's the biggest ROI.
Thank you, Sindhu. Now, Joydeep, let me come to you. So you have seen you've seen quite a lot of people's journey across various industries and organizations. So you're part of, leading airliners, leading shipping liner, then leading banks. So, and today you are actually witnessing a lot of these journeys together as part of the cohort also. So let's bring a people angle to the ROI as well. How would you define the ROI?
Let me, talk about a concept we learned in college in ISB. It's called crafting. Okay, what does crafting mean in a very nutshell? Is essentially deciding your goal and planning your way up to that goal in a very layman's language, and exactly that is what I've done. If you look back and see, and I'm sure I'll invite you to check the LinkedIn, you'll see that I've already moved my career as per the crafting I had planned. So yes, I've not reached the destination yet where I want to go, but I am doing exactly what I had planned, and I'm using the technique I learned in at ISB. So one of the things is that the ROI, if I could literally, I'm sure it is a question everybody talks about financial, and most of us have self-funded the program through loans, etc. You have to think of those numbers, think of what you want to achieve, think of those roles, and then plan your action towards that. And then you can actually use the techniques you learned in ISB, at ISB, and reach that. But yeah, don't expect that you'll reach it in 1 month or 2 months. It's up to you how you plan your steps and how you go there. You can go within the organization. A lot of people among our cohort have actually grown during the term. A lot of us during the term have actually changed roles, gone to different roles, different organizations, etc. And I, being in HR, honestly, I do get to interact. The best part I'll talk about is the cohort is that because we all are from different functions, and we all have so much experience, anytime you need a guidance, you have somebody call away. And you don't need to think twice. I don't need to think when I talk to Abhishek or Sidhu about anything. I don't need to put any filter because I'm not competing with them. They are good at their role. I'm good at my role. So then you get a very honest feedback and an honest opinion. And that really helps you in making those career transitions, role transitions, because then you could depend on each other's experience. You don't need to take a decision only based on what you know. And that is an amazing part of having such a cohort with us.
Excellent. Thank you, Joydeep. That very well sums it up. So I will take a question.
If I could just add one more point
Yes, please,
before we
Abhishek,
move to
yes.
the next question.
Yes, please.
So one of the items that I wanted to do in my life was to be projecting myself as a thought leader. Okay, in the space that I operate, fintech and agri-tech. When I came into ISB, that was like one of my topmost agenda. Like, ye to mujhe karna hi hai. So now it took me 12 months to write an article, and I have used ISB's network to kind of push that research paper that I have in one of the journals which will get published in India. And an extract of that was an article which got published in the Forbes, right? Again through the ISB network. Now that's an ROI which I will not account for in financial terms, but that's an ROI that will continue with me for the rest of my life. I think if somebody wants to look at an ROI, this is an exact example of what I meant earlier when I said, if you come into the course, you have items that you want to do, you are able to do it better, and also then project it to the right audience. The ROI will come, the money will come.
Excellent, Abhishek. So in fact, I'll come back to you with that question. We'll take up the conversation from there.
Sure.
There is a Q&A question that I've received. So there are a few questions that we received in terms of the program. So for the program related question, let me share a link to book a one-to-one conversation with us. I'm sharing this in the chat box. Please feel free to book this slot available, and we'll have a conversation in detail. There's another question from Hemant. Hemant writes that his career goal is to move into business leadership somewhere down the line. And he's currently in a senior engineering manager role with 14 years of experience in a leading IT major. Is it good to do PGPMAX now, or should I wait until I reach a director level to do the program is the question. So I'll leave it open. I'll take your perspectives on this.
Yes, I can answer that. See, one of the things is you should actually do the course now to be prepared to do the role. So one thing we all need to understand is whenever you get chosen for a senior role, you get chosen because you're already displaying the skills required for the role. You don't get into the role and then display, right? So, and that's where this will really helps you, because you start displaying the level up, already doing what you're doing at that stage. And that's when you get automatically picked up, rather than waiting for that role to come and then start displaying, because that never happens in reality. In reality, CEOs, CXOs are chosen because you're already displaying the skills of that role. And that's where this post really comes into and fits into, because that is that transition you need to get into that role.
Excellent. Abhishek, Sindhu, anything that you would like to add on? Perfect.
I think I would agree to what Joydeep said. So the right time to do a course like this is basically if you're doing good in your current job, and then you have an aspiration to be to the next level. I think that's the right time. If you're not doing good, then first figure out why you're not doing good and just go ahead and do good in your current role that you're doing. Then at that point, get onto a course like this so that you can get the skills required for the next level, show that skill set, and then take up the additional role. I think that's the path which I have followed, and I'm sure you will also follow that same trajectory.
Excellent. Thanks, Abhishek. So picking up from what you shared, Abhishek, so probably one of the takeaways from your experience in ISB is the opportunity to build your personal brand. And there are a lot of these elements that come into play, which helps you in that. The curriculum, the brand itself, the ecosystem that is available, the cohort and alumni, and also the professors. So all of this put together is an amazing experience that you go through. Is there something that you can share about how this it has helped you in this thought leadership journey? Now, you wanted to take that pursuit, take that path. How far have you reached, and how far has ISB helped you? Where is it heading to?
So I think ISB has been a key contributor to this journey. I don't think so I've reached the end of it. It's a continuous journey that we have to go through. But yes, it's like a stepping stone. So definitely ISB did help. As I mentioned, I came into the course saying I will definitely get a thought leadership kind of a branding out of this whole for myself. Reaching out to the professors was very easy, and they are thought leaders in their own space. And making them interested in the idea that I have was a good coffee conversation that I could do. Couple of conversations, they were ready to help. Putting my thoughts on a piece of document, getting it reviewed to them, working on their feedback. It took me 12 months. It wasn't easy because I've never done that before in my career. But yes, once it was done, uh, the network of ISB, both alumni, the media relations, the ability of ISB to push a particular research paper into a journal within India, so on and so forth, was very kind of conducive for me. So that whole episode of 12 months writing it, making sure it's worth publishing, and then making sure it actually gets published. I think that's an achievement for me, just from a branding standpoint. And things like going on to a fintech event and speaking, like this was something that again I got from ISB. Said, why aren't you, if you're helping so many fintechs do some things in India, why don't you go and present that to the larger audience? So that thought process got me going, and I kind of got to speaking at a few events. So I think ISB has helped me transform as a person, and obviously project my skill set to the larger audience which is out there.
Excellent. Joydeep, let me get your perspective here. How is the entire ecosystem helping
Yeah.
you, personal brand journey?
I think if I have to put it in a very layman's language, it would be ISB gets you the seat on the table, and it also tells you how to put forward the conversation. Because when you have these conversations, most of our classes and the amazing set of profs we have, they don't just come and show us slides. They basically, get stuff out of our minds only. They interact with us and they make sure that we challenge them and they challenge us. And that's how the interaction happens. So what happens in this entire process is that you start thinking differently. You start putting forward your opinion, forming opinions, forming your thought process. So once you get a seat on the table, you know what to say, and you know what will be heard and what will be recognized by the people who are hearing. So that really helped me from a branding perspective. Like when I moved, when I was moving my organization, I mean, the kind of people who spoke to me to retain me itself told me that because of that ISB, I got that seat to even have a conversation. The kind of options were put forward to me, and that suddenly opened my eyes. Like, okay, I mean, I've never happened in the past. So you generally just be spoken by an HR head. You don't have a CEO coming and talking to you. So that meant that something, of course, has alerted them that here is a person who's moving out from a good college, etc. We want to retain him. So I think that was that was a kind of an eye opener. So A, you get a seat on the table, and B, you also learn what to say and how to pitch a conversation. I think that really helped us build a brand within the organizations we work.
Brilliant.
That's
Thanks,
my
Joydeep. Thank you. Sindhu, what would be your take? How is it all helping?
A lot of points put across by both of them. I think the just sheer ISB brand value itself, the brand itself has a lot of value when you just add it to your CV, add it to your profile on LinkedIn itself. That itself brings in a lot of, people visiting you, trying to know about you. I think that's itself is a big achievement onto it. And apart from that, the way they said, the approachability to the professors, the way the course is done, the way you interact with the cohort and you learn through that, you are building your own personal identity among everybody. Because this is where you get to experiment, right? You're in a room full of CXOs, like senior leaders sitting there. One is an MD, one is like Joydeep, who is an HRBP. Now, how do you go ahead and build your niche brand among them? If you are successfully able to build it among them, then you can definitely go ahead and build yourself on the professional front as well. So I think that's where you get an opportunity to carve out your own personal brand, and ISB kind of helps you market it beyond what you have with the extent of alumni network that you can get. So, and at the end, all this is there, right? It's up to you if you want to leverage it. If you want to make use of it, you will do it. If you don't, then yes, you will continue to be the same self. So that's where the ROI again comes in. You have all these brand value, you have a huge brand value, leverage it and make your own career out of it from that. Yeah, that's
Excellent.
my take,
Thanks.
Tom.
Thank you, Sindhu. Now let's talk about the cohort and the community that is available at ISB. It's a very diverse cohort that we put together every year. So,
Yeah.
when people reach out to us, we tell them that 10 to 25 years is the range of experience we look at. So anywhere from senior managers to directors, VPs, and CXOs are part of the cohort. And there are few who would get a little intimidated because of that. CXO in my cohort, somebody very senior in my cohort. How will I handle it? Am I the right fit for the program? Should I apply for the program? That's one aspect of it. Then there are others from various walks of life. In fact, in your cohort, there is a doctor, a lawyer, people from defense, people from various walks of life, apart from the the standard corporate tracks who would come in. And there are a lot of applications that we get from people from this kind of a parallel track who would be also intimidated, saying, is this right? Is this the right step? So let's talk a little about the cohort. How is the cohort experience been? What is your takeaway from the cohort and community that is available at ISB? Sindhu, I'll start with you on this.
Okay, I'll tell you, I had the same inhibition. Okay, I'm not kidding. I remember after the first term, I called up Vaibhav. You might not know, Vaibhav leads Ability India over here, and he has his own Flights of Fantasy company, and like great, amazing person. I called him up and I said, listen, Vaibhav, I'm feeling too very unsure. Is it the right time for me to continue this course? Should I postpone it? There are so many leaders out here. The conversations that they're having is different. I don't know if I can go and be a fitment over there. And the only thing he said is, what makes you feel that you're not the right fitment, right? The very reason you have crossed that hurdle of an application and ISB has put you among this group of people is because you have the qualities that are among the entire cohort that is there, right? The qualities, and you can have those conversations. So I think that's what cohort brings you, right? The confidence, and that kind of confidence is what the cohort members give you, right? As a thing. And like you said, it diverges. I've never seen a cohort which has so much of diversity like the one that our cohort has. And that's where the learning becomes even more interesting, right? When we're discussing a case study, suddenly the doctor raises, I'm like, this is a scenario that I'm having in my hospital. How do I go ahead and do it? Then the army brings in, implement this in course in the defense right now. How is the solution going to be? So you start, your perception changes. And you start looking at another side of a solution for every problem that you have. I think that's very unique. And that diversity in the cohort makes it the best thing for you. And I think I can knock on wood, our cohort is like the most, it's like a family for us. And 18 months, 2 more months to go, but we already started feeling that pinch that it's just 2 months left. So cohort is your, and these friendships and relationships that you build in the 12 months, they go a long way because you're making those relationships at a point in your career, in your life, where you're already you're 35 plus, inching in 40s, or you're more than 40s. So they are steady friendships and relationships that you're building, right? So definitely they impact you in a big way, in a positive way, they impact you, and you kind of go ahead on that journey along with them. So that's how cohort becomes a very important part of your family now. And it is, we all have family get-togethers, the entire cohorts in different regions. So it stays for the rest of your life.
Excellent. Thanks, Sindhu. So let me come to you, Abhishek. And there is also one question that I've got into the Q&A box where Hemant asks, how would you rank the following? And he asks the ISB network cross-functional learning and ISB brand value. So probably this is also going to be answered as you explain all of this, experience with the cohort. So let me start with you, Abhishek.
So I'll give you a real-time example of what happened to me. So I was helping somebody set up a company, and there was a regulatory issue in terms of how to set it up. Should a NBFC own a tech company, or a tech company own an NBFC company? A very simple question, but then it impacts the funding for that particular entity. And we have a lawyer who's a transaction lawyer, with a large PE fund. So the only thing I could do is pick up the phone on him and say, hey, this is the use case. A very senior banker wants to do this. Tell me what to do. He comes back within 2 days saying, this is the structure that you need to go with. And that's how you will be able to maximize the value when you raise funding. Assume that I was not part of the ISB network. Access to this guy itself was very difficult. And to get an answer to this so simple question would have taken me months. I don't know how many months, like 3 months, 6 months, but it would have taken forever for me to just get an answer to this. So that's the value that you get out of ISB from a network or a cohort standpoint. I would say we are so diverse in nature in terms of our industry experience that any industry, we are like 1 degree separation away. So I would know somebody and that guy would know somebody senior in that industry, or that person whom I know itself is a senior person to answer my question. So tomorrow, if I have an issue which I need to kind of solve for myself, I know whom to reach out, or at least I know whom to reach out, who can get me connected to somebody who will help me solve it. So that's the value that I get from the cohort and the alumni network. The question that you put up, I think, where did it go?
Yeah, I'll read it out. It's
sorry, I think the order of priority you said, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
it is ISB
So I would
network,
say, yeah,
cross-functional
so
skills, and brand value.
I would say the ranking. I think the ranking is correct. The network is the number one, because if I don't know something, I need to know whom to go to. The skill set gets added automatically, because then I know what is to be learned and what should not be learned, and what I need to rely on my cohort to help me out. And brand value comes last, because I cannot just rely on the brand for everything, right? As Joydeep said, ISB brand can get you a seat on the table, but what to speak and how to speak is something that you need to know. And this number one and number two in the question, which actually helps you get to that point, at how to speak and what to speak.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Abhishek. Joydeep, now over to you for your perspective.
I think one more aspect beyond the professional support you get, right? There's another aspect. The aspect is about personal support, right? I mean, during COVID, if somebody needs a particular advice or medical emergency, or you're in a personal issue around some legal tangles, you just know that you have the confidence that I'll call this number and I'll get somebody who will give me the right opinion on how to approach the stuff. I mean, that's extremely important in the kind of life we live. We are at senior levels. We have to take difficult calls sometimes. So you know that, okay, who is my sounding board in the network? And that really, really comes handy, right? From even a simple thing like which card to go for to as complicated as, as Abhishek mentioned. So it can be anything and everything for which you need a second opinion. You know that somebody is just a call away, and that's the bonding. At least, I mean, for me, and I repeat what Sindhu said, we just have an amazing cohort. I mean, thanks to the admission team to put us all together, but there's practically nothing left, right from name the industry, we have a person, name the function, we have a person. I mean, we have everybody, right from doctors to lawyers to even entrepreneurs to even a branding guy, so we have everybody. So it just makes life so easy on some things you will normally spend a lot of time on.
Excellent. Thank you, Joydeep.
Yeah.
Again, to the audience, so if you do have any questions, feel free to share it into the Q&A box. There is a question from Namit. Namit, I did not really get your question. Probably if you can rephrase it and share it here, we'll be happy to take it again. But I think it's more about the expectations from PGPMAX. So let me kind of rephrase that question again and bring it back to the panel. You joined the program last year around August, and you're going to complete this program by December this year. So we, from an admission perspective, we tell everybody that this is going to be a 15-month transformational journey. And what is that transformation? How would you define that transformation? What is your take on what that transformation was? Joydeep, let me start with you on this.
Yeah, I think one word, perspective. And that's it. That changes everything. We all were like this, and now we think like this. I mean, just the perspective is many times over. Like Abhishek mentioned, it's many times square over of what we used to think we can do. And the kind of confidence you get, and even standing and talking to a CXO, to anybody across the industry, because you get to know them. you interface with them during the the interactions. I mean, the live example is we do a leadership summit at PGPMAX, which is hosted by us, by the class every year. I mean, you have governors and heads of PwC, etc. We all come in and speak in our event. Itself shows the kind of value the course kind of puts forward in the market for people to come and recognize that and speak in that forum. So I think that's just amazing.
Excellent. Thank you, Jaideep. Abhishek, let me come to you on this. What has been transformation for you?
I think apart from the perspective point that Joydeep mentioned, I think the ability to take risk, and then if the risk doesn't turn out to be a good one, the thought process that at the back of my mind, there are 85 people who's going to help me. I think that is the key takeaway from this program for me, at least.
Excellent. Thanks, Abhishek. Sindhu, what would it be for you?
Transformation, I think I've said in other many words, in individual transformation, apart from the perceptions that you started with, what is leadership altogether? How is it to be a CXO? How business organizations run? All that is, yes, it totally changes your perceptions about it. It brings a freshness into your thinking. That's the transformation that I have personally taken. And I think, like how Abhishek said, everybody is just a call away. And knowing that you have that backing and that support, because these people have seen you, like literally been that 1 week when you are with the cohort, you go through the grind, you go through all the assignments, they see your the worst side of it, they see the best side of you, they know it. So when you reach out to them for help, whether it's regarding your career or personal, they are there for you. I think that's the transformation it brings in. And removing those inhibitions that you have, that hey, he's a CXO, he or she is a CXO, they are not approachable, it's all gone. Because in the end, our cohort has great CXOs over there, managing directors and CXOs. They are just human like us. So you go ahead and approach them without any inhibitions in your head. So that's the transformation for me. It has been right now I go with no perceptions when I meet a person. Earlier I do had those things like, hey, should I talk, should I not talk, they are good or bad, whatever, in all ways. But now I don't have those. So that's the biggest transformation for me, like changing myself, looking at things differently, and taking a different, fresh approach to everything in life. And that's what ISB has done, which is a permanent kind of a drastic change for me. It won't go back. It's totally positive change. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Sundar, for that. So now, are there any further questions from our attendees today? You can type it into the Q&A box. I think we've got one. Okay, so have you considered any other EMBA programs before considering PGPMAX? And then why did you choose PGPMAX over that as a question? So the question, they specifically asked for a program, but in general, let's answer if you have considered.
Yeah. So I considered at least 4 courses. Let me be as specific as that, without getting into the names, but out of which 2 were in India and 2 were abroad. Including funding, everything. Funding is never a problem. Let me put it this way: if you get into any 4 of these, you'll probably get the funding. So funding is not a problem. The decision point was main in terms of, okay, this is the time investment, how the course will be taught, what kind of subjects are covered. But one of my filters was that people who have done the course 2 years or 3 years earlier, where are they today? So I basically looked at the course, looked at the alums of those courses, and I knew where to go. And that's was one of my key decision points when I looked at ISB PGPMAX. I just Google, you can do that on LinkedIn these days, so you can really take time out and study. I also spoke to a couple of alums, got a feedback, got the confidence, and that was how I took this decision.
Excellent. Abhishek, what was it in your case?
So similar to Joydeep, I did evaluate a few courses, one in Singapore, one in UK, and one in the US as well. Another one was in Dubai as well. So I did analysis both on cost, ROI, alums, blah, blah, everything. I mean, in terms of my cheat sheet. and then came back to the point that, okay, can I leave my job? Can I invest so much? Is traveling to a foreign geography going to make sense every quarter or so and so forth? And finally, is that alum base big enough in India for me to grow in India? Because uh, I mean, from a career standpoint, I've already done US, UK long stints. I wanted to be in India, and that's why I'm here. So if I need to be here, I need to have an alum base in India. So that was one of the key factors that I kind of looked at, and then decided that this is the program that I want to go in.
Sindhu, what is it in your case?
I did do. And for me, the first criteria was I cannot change my location, right? And I cannot leave a job. So keeping that, I had ruled out all the options that was there across the other countries that was available. So for me, I had to choose something within India. And that's where the points that Joydeep and Abhishek brought up, right? What's the ROI? How easy it is for me to leave my job, leave my family, go in there, spend the time, come back. Can I do things in parallel? Is it in the same time zone? All of this started, playing in your mind, right? At least in my mind, it started playing around, right? And at the end, is your network, when you approach your network, are they going to do things for you? And with the kind of interactions that we had with the alums before in this hearing, talking to them, they are there to help you and they have supported the entire. That's important. Having an alum network is great, right? But do they help you in achieving your career goals and transitions is even more important. And I think that's where ISB stood out very differently from the other, institutions that were offering multiple of these courses. And I think the live case studies that we got to experience it, that kind of changed the other, that also was another kind of a decision criteria to kind of get into this. Because for me, being in Bangalore, the other institute is just right opposite. I don't need to spend a lot of energy. It's right there. But the way the entire course was built, the international immersions that we kind of got in, I think all that made ISB's program very unique. And that was the reason why I chose this. If not ISB, I don't think I wouldn't have done any other course, at least in the near term or in future. Definitely, I wouldn't have done, because I've done multiple of these 1-year courses. I have done 18-month courses. I have done 1-week courses. I have done, you name it, from all the top institutions I have done. So for me, so if you ask me, am I stupid? I am not. I love learning. So I keep doing this. But if not ISB, it wouldn't have been any other course. That's what I would like to add in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sindhu, for that. There's one more question which has come into the Q&A box. It's more around, should the person consider an EMBA, online EMBA? What would be helpful for Indians who are working in other countries? So let me also rephrase it in this way. Would the ISB program help somebody who is attending the program from another region?
Actually,
We do have, actually. We
Yeah.
have a person, Cedric, who's attending it from Greece, right? Greece or
France.
Italy, France, okay. So they are, and he travels during the term. And if you ask him why he chose ISB, he compared ISB's EMBA program with other international programs, and then he chose because the curriculum was very unique. So irrespective of where you're based out of, you can do this course. Yes, you have the time zone challenges, but forget all that. The entire experience is going to be different. So these are all simple, I would just say, pegs that you can just remove it and put it off. So they should not stop you from making your decisions. Others, please add, and I pounced on. Sorry.
No. In fact, I spoke to a guy who was from the previous batch. He has spent most of his career in Germany. He's Indian, based out of Germany, but his long-term career objective was to be based in India. So he kind of pursued the PGPMAX program. Now he's graduated and he's kind of looking out for a job in India. So again, the same reasons that we've been talking about the alumni base and so on and so forth. But yes, he did travel for every term to come to ISB and then go through the program. So there are a lot of these instances or these people that you'll find who have chosen ISB, EMBA or PGPMAX over other programs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Just as a point of information from the program office, so we every year we have a lot of people doing the program from the Middle East, from Southeast Asia. In fact, in the current cohort, there is somebody who is traveling all the way from Africa to do the program. And there are people who come from the US, take a sabbatical of 15 months, do the program, and then go back to the US. So all of that has been the case. We've got one more question. Should somebody get an admission right now? The course only starts in August. So how should one prepare for given the time that they would have?
I'll answer. Okay, so and please don't laugh when I tell you, I took 1 month to fill the application form. Okay, it's not easy. So it's not easy, and 1 month it took me to answer all the questions because you wanted to put all that you have, into that. So I mean, it just when you do it, you are so relieved. Like, okay, you were able to do it and put forward that all your best foot. And plus, of course, you have to talk to your references. You need references, very strong references. So you have to make sure that those references are actually good references, and they are able to vouch for you and your performance. So talking to them, telling them what the course is, it just takes a lot of time. The process, it takes a lot of time. Admission office is amazingly helpful in helping you through that journey. But yes, at the end of the day, you have to fill the application. So the sooner you do it, the better it is, because you don't want to if you made up your mind, then why wait is my point.
Thanks, Rajesh.
Okay. So let me say what you can start doing. Go to LinkedIn, find out ISB's alumni network, figure out all the people who are already part of the ISB PGPMAX program, start connecting with them, try to get their perspective, and get your network stronger. So that's what you can do in the next 6 months till the time you have, and use that time to, the curriculum. I'm sure the admissions office will share you the curriculum. Start charting those goals that you want to actually achieve in each of those terms. You have the time now if you have the decision made. Like Joydeep said, it's a tough process to get into, but you have gotten into and your decision is done. Go ahead and make your own career progression chart or your transformation journey. Build that up. You have all the time to do it. And you can also identify which resource to go to after you complete each term, or you have met a career growth, whether to reach out to Abhishek or whether to reach out to Joydeep to get new career transition growth in one of the happening companies. So you can definitely go ahead and do that. So have that, utilize that time for that.
I think take some time off and just enjoy, because now you made it to the process. Treat yourself, actually.
Yeah.
Right. So there's one more question, which is more of a question for the program office. So I'll be answering that on a one-to-one with Hemant. But I think one point definitely stands out there. If somebody is at a juncture of about having 12 years or 13 years of experience, is it better to do an MBA program or is an executive MBA better? What would be your take?
I think first point of consideration is, can you take time off from where you are right now? I mean, that is a very important question. Can you be away from your work and from your income, which is associated with that work, for the period of that program? That is number one. Number two is if that is not an issue, you have to be at work, and that's one of the key criteria. Then of course executive MBA works better. Then the second criteria is, how is the program paced? Does it give you enough opportunity to, because you have to also remember that you have to study, you have to manage work, you have to manage family. So is it paced properly? And it should not be like too long or too short. It should have adequate space in between to cover up. So while we have 12 terms, we actually have 15 months. So it's kind of paced properly. You get some time to focus on your work, and then you are back into campus, and then you again focus. So it kind of initially 1-2 terms, a little bit of managing, but after that you get used to it and it works wonderfully well. So the point of consideration would be that A, can you take time off? B, in terms of how the pace is, and then third is more in terms of the structure of the program, the methodology of teaching, the set of professors, etc., etc. Funding, trust me, is not an issue. I mean, I think most of us actually started looking for funding once we got an admission, and it was super easy. There's no problem with funding. I mean, that just happens, honestly.
Thanks, Joydeep. Abhishek and Sindhu, anything that you'd like to add? Okay.
No, I think pretty much Joydeep has covered everything.
That's fine.
Yeah. If you
Funding
have
is
it,
also
you have the time, do a full-time MBA.
Yeah.
Period. If job you cannot support, take a decision on that, EMBA is the best option. And it's very, very important which EMBA you do. If that's what you want to do, don't do anything just random, because you don't add value into your career growth at all. You might build relationships, meet new people, but no way it's going to change you or transform you. So take that decision wisely.
Thank you. Right. So being mindful of time, I'll take the last question. Okay, how is the course evaluation done? Again, probably I'll give you the details on a one-to-one call. But yes, let's get your perspectives, please.
We get this question because our first question that goes at the beginning of the term, when the term starts, when the first session of the professor is, how are the exams? Okay. So the professors make fun of us, saying that you guys are like what, executives, and all you worry about is exams. Is it kind of like grow up types, So honestly, exams are part of this. I think it's just an evaluation, kind of a metric for you to know whether you have got the concepts or not. So we do have assignments, loads of assignments. So if you think the life is going to be super easy and breezy, it may not be. But I'll tell you, we wake up pretty early, do our assignments, we sleep pretty late. All that we do in this 1 week, and we party also hard. So work and party goes too much, too long throughout that 1 week. And of course, exams are there. Some have exams, some have capstone assignments or projects. So it's mixed. And at the end of the term, immediately in 1 week, you get to do your exams. But they are super easy breezy. I think our kids will start laughing if we talk about these. But yeah, we do have those, and we do have open book exams, closed book exams. You have fun. You're going back to your school life. And I know someone had asked Thomas, like, is it the right time? I have 20 plus for more than that experience, right? We have a person called Ajay Saraf sir. He owns a mining company. He's coming back to school after 35 years. Okay. It's like, that's what the cohort is, and that's what learning is. You should never decide it based on the age. Go ahead and learn if you really want to have that experience out there. So just do it. That's it. We attended his daughter's wedding. So when I'm saying 35 years, just think how old he is. So age is not a barrier when it comes to learning. So, and the cohort kind of, that's the diversity that we brought in, right? So yeah, that's to another question there.
So there was an add-on question to that. Is there an exam using pen and paper? Is the add-on question there? So was it hard? I mean, when the actual exam was there, was it actually hard for you to write down with a pen and paper?
I think more than the questions, the feeling of exam can be sometimes little this thing. But after a while, it's fine. Now we actually have fun, and we make a lot of joke about it. But yeah, it's okay. It's not that bad actually.
You do have pen and paper, right? Okay, you do have to scan and send. So you might have to ask your kids how to scan and then send and upload and everything. But honestly, learning, it's right? Like, it's a learning. It's altogether a learning. And it was fun for us. It was really fun.
So, I mean, I actually learned from my daughter how to use an app to scan the document and send it to ISB. She was like, "Aapko ye bhi nahi pata?" That was fun. I mean, I normally at office I have a secretary doing it, but here I was like, okay, let me do it.
But then it's okay. It's all part of parcel of your this entire. So enjoy it. It's okay. We still ask what the marks. We get excited when the marks come. We get sorrow. Oh shit, we scored less in this subject. We cry like we were in first standard, second standard. So it's like all the drama happens. The only thing is, the best part is that you forget you are executives. When you're in this course, when you're going through the cohort,
you feel
like you're in children, you're like in your teens and your college kids, and you're just having back to college days. So that's the fun that you get to have. So relive those days.
You have to be at campus. You just love it. You open morning, sipping tea, you see a deer or you see a peacock and dancing in front of your room. It's just amazing. You don't get it anywhere else. It's amazing. Amazing.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you all for all those candid responses. So being mindful of time, let me bring it down to the last question. A lot of our participants today who joined us and who are still there are prospective applicants or are people who applied for the program already. Now, what would your advice be to a prospective applicant? What should they know about PGPMAX? So let me start with you, Abhishek, on this.
I think my advice would be very 3 pointers, right? Be clear with what you want. Come with a focus into the program, and then use this network to leverage and achieve your objectives. I think these are 3 things. If you are very clear and you execute it like a meticulous plan, you will reach wherever you want to reach.
Excellent. Sindhu, what would your take be?
He summed it very well.
Yeah.
I think clarity is the most important thing, because we have have said we need this, we need that. But if you're clear what you're getting into, then you're done. You're sorted. You will, kind of breeze through this very comfortably, and you will probably ace the entire course. So know what you're getting into and why you're getting into and how you're going to achieve that and do multitasking in your life. Later on, you shouldn't feel after jumping into it, hey, listen, I'm sinking into the pond, I'm not able to kind of get through it. That's one thing. Please don't do it. So be clear and then make a wise decision. And trust me, you will get the support from everybody to kind of sail through this. So do that. Yeah. That's
Excellent.
my last 2 cents.
Excellent. Joydeep, what would
I think I'll just add one more aspect to what Abhishek and Sindhu said, is that I'm pretty sure that anybody who's joining this course is going to do a lot of homework, because it's a lot of investment. But in case you feel that you're not very clear with the thought process, you're not very clear with what you can achieve or want to achieve, please reach out. Talk to the admissions committee or connect with the alums, speak to them, and that really helps you, put your thought in place. And you will get somebody of your industry, you will get somebody of your function. Reach out to them, and I can assure you, every ISB alum is extremely reachable, because that really helps you. Because sometimes at this juncture of our career, we are sometimes not aware of where we are getting into. We need some sounding board. Use the admissions committee as your sounding board, and they will really help you, guide you. And that's extremely important to take this call.
Thank you, Joydeep. That's well said, and that's what we would also recommend. If you do need help, feel free to reach out to us, book a one-to-one conversation with us, and we'll be happy to support. Thank you so much, everyone, for being part of this Student Diaries. Thank you, Abhishek, Sindhu, and Joydeep, for taking the time, especially on a Saturday, on a festive weekend. So greetings of the festivities to all of you.
Thank you. Happy Diwali, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Diwali.
Have a nice weekend ahead. Thank you all.
Thank
Thanks,
you. Bye-bye.
everyone. Thank you so much. Bye. Have a great Diwali and a great weekend. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you all.